When you are able to connect with people who are doing amazing things, you need to listen to what those people are sharing and take those advice and apply them to your sales efforts, to your life, because that's what's going to help you to succeed. And today's one of those days where you get a chance to listen to an amazing seller, an amazing business owner, and to take the advice and insights that he and his friends are offering and apply it. Let's get mentored. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you on TSE TV on YouTube. Now, today we have a phenomenal guest. Two amazing guests. You know, when you get one amazing guest, it's like, that's cool. But when you get two amazing guests, you're like, bro, boom, mind blown. So today, as you can see on this book, we're going to be talking about mentoring to millions, going to give you some life lessons that you can apply to sales and business. And we have the one and only today, Kevin Harrington. You can see that right there at the top, right? And also Mark Tim. Now, both of these individuals co-authored this book, and they're going to give us their insights. We're going to get a chance to pick their brains. And yes, this is the real Kevin Harrington, the one that you actually saw on Shark Tank, the one that is as seen on TV guy. Yeah, that's him. And I'm telling you, he and Mark, they're doing some pretty amazing things. Mark has been very successful himself and grew several amazing businesses. So they're going to give us some insights. They're going to give us some things of what worked for them and how that can apply to you. Welcome to the show, Kevin and Mark.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks, Donald.
Hey,
great
man.
to be here.
So excited to have you all. I've been bragging about you all in the teaser and talking about the book. And I know we're going to talk a little bit more about that today as well. But there is so many great ideas and so many great concepts that we can take and apply, especially as entrepreneurs and salespeople who are listening to this podcast. I kind of give a little bit intro about you guys already. So I gave an intro about you, Mark, and about you, Kevin. But is there anything you'd like to add to our audience that they may not necessarily know about you guys?
Well, I know one thing that...
go ahead, Mark, please.
One thing that everybody always asks us is, how did Kevin and I meet? And you held up the book, Mentor to Millions. And so you've got that book, Mentor to Millions. Well, guess what? It's not about millions of dollars. It's about millions of people impacted. And Kevin and I met through a mutual mentor, Zig Ziglar. And he was the master closer, the master motivator, inspirator. And so he was a mentor of mine, and he was also a mentor of Kevin's. And then the children of Zig Ziglar introduced us to each other. So if you don't believe that having the right mentor can't help you impact millions, we are living examples of that. And now, because of our mutual mentor, we are impacting millions together.
So true. Now, and I feel that you probably impacted, you guys in collectively have probably impacted so many other people and blessed so many other people's life just from your, not only the book, but just from your experiences altogether in total. So I'm excited to hear about this. And Kevin, you know, we joke about, with some of your experience here, you've worked with a lot of people on, you know, from Shark Tank to so many different areas of life and giving them so many different advice when it comes towards building their own businesses and building from scratch. Some of the individuals here today are trying to build their own business. Some of them are trying to build their own sales pipeline. Some of them are just trying to build themselves overall. So I'm excited to pick your brains a little bit. And I think you had something to share there before Mark was jumping in.
Well, yeah, you know, I was just going to say that when you talk about my past, you know, I had a lot of great years building infomercials and working with celebrities and the Jack LaLannes, the George Foremans, the Tony Littles, Billy Mays, the, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But we got hit with this COVID crisis recently, which took a lot of people down to their knees. And I'll admit that for the first couple of weeks, you know, I had to just really put a focus on what is the future going to look like. And I just want to say that I have extreme clarity now that's come through for me over this amazing, terrible pandemic that's affected the world. And some of the businesses we've had to close down, move on from. They're just not gonna work in the future world that we are going to be seeing, the new world that we're going to be living in. But others that have crushed it. So I just think that there's people out there that are in one level or another thinking, what do I do? What do I do? And really what they need is to be speaking to their mentor, or if they don't have one, get a mentor. So I know we're going to focus a lot about the discussion of mentors today. And so I feel good because it took me a little bit of time to get the clarity, but now I really have a good vision of what entrepreneurs should be doing.
So in the book, one of the first chapters you guys mentioned is getting the right mindset. First off, when it comes towards getting a mentor to millions, and with the framework of what you just established there, where we're battling and going through COVID and life is changing, mindset is critical. How do we go about establishing the right mindset? Either one of you would like to jump in and take that.
Mark's got that one. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah. So mindset is so critical because, again, our mutual mentor used to say you can change who you are and where you are by changing one thing. And that's what you put into your mind. You see, the book starts out with me sitting at my driveway and I didn't want to go home. Now, I'm sure entrepreneurs out there can relate to that, but usually it's because you just missed a big sale, or you lost a lot of money, or you're going bankrupt. I didn't want to go home because I just had one of the best days of my life. I just crushed it in everything I did and had one of the biggest sales of my life. I didn't want to go home because I was leaving a world of clarity and confidence and entering a world of chaos and confusion. And when that happens, it puts you at such an awkward spot. So here's the deal. I got the right mentor in Kevin Harrington. I started applying those things in my life. I started bringing them home to my family. And what happened next is everything changed. My business changed. My time with my wife changed. My relationship with my kids changed. But here's the cool part. I still live in the same house. I still drive the same vehicle I was driving that day. I still have the same businesses. What changed was in my mind. Only me changed and only my mindset changed. And so you get the right mindset and you've taken the first big step to success because it begins right up here.
How about you? Any thoughts on that, Kevin?
I agree 100%. And I think that just like I was saying, when COVID first hit, it's a little confusing. What are you going to do as we work through these kinds of things? As you change what is going into your mind, you can change the outcome. And again, for me, it became a clarity situation that I was seeking. And so, I mean, I think that's ultimately what, as people are reaching out to us during these times, people that I haven't talked to in some cases, literally 30 years. I mean, this morning at 8:30 in the morning, somebody that it's been so many years ago, but people are just reaching out, looking for that, that next level of help and advice. And I just feel that Zig Ziglar was as we said, the family that put us back together. Little did we all know what was going to be happening in the world after this, but it's been just great timing for us.
How do people just get them? I mean, when we talked about the mindset there, and we talked about, these getting the right mindset and also just getting the clarity, but so many individuals right now with their current mindset, I guess what I'm trying to get at is mindset something that you diligently have to put together, or can you just be born with a positive mindset or a good mindset? And if so, how are we right now, the people who are listening to this that don't have a mentor, how are their mindset being shaped? Media, so forth, life, family. I want them to be cognizant of things that they may not necessarily be focusing on. Am I making sense with this, guys?
Yeah, totally. And I got to tell you that I've been around super successful people. I've been around Zig Ziglar. I got to sit down in his home and eat with his wife. I've been to Kevin Harrington's home. I've traveled with Kevin Harrington. You know what they have in common?
What's that?
They consume an amazing amount of content. Oftentimes reading. Zig Ziglar used to read 3 hours a day. When I travel with Kevin Harrington, one of my favorite stories in the book, and you got to read it in the book because I won't do justice today, but I'm traveling with Kevin and he shows up to the airport with 2 bags. And I recognized the one because that was his attaché bag with his laptop and stuff in it. And the other bag was this stuffed full bag I'd never seen before. We get on the plane And next thing you know, he gets up and he doesn't pull down his laptop. He pulls down this other bag, and it is chock full of newspapers and trade magazines. And he just sits there and starts going through them, and he's ripping out pages and putting them in folders, and he's looking for information. He's consuming all kinds of content inside of his mind. And so next thing you know, he's got a pile in front of him that's so big, and it was almost like the stewardess was in on the deal. She comes by and she fills a trash bag full of this stuff, and he starts again. And he piles up another pile of it, and she comes by and picks it all up. And by the time we were done, this was a flight from Tampa to Toronto, he had filled 2 trash bags full of content. Now, his choice, he could have watched Netflix. He could have been watching a movie. He could have been fiddling, watching some, video, but he chose to consume this content. So we choose every day what content we're going to put in our mind. And we can binge on Netflix series, or we can totally go in and we can dive into the content that really matters and that's going to change our life. We can listen to podcasts. We can read things. Super successful people fill their mind with content that's going to help them crush it in life.
Yeah, let me add to that. Thank you, Mark, because I love the story. I've been doing it for so many years. I didn't realize how funny it was to watch somebody do what I was doing. But so think of it this way, Donald. You wake up in the morning and you maybe you're not feeling good. You don't know what deals are going to be flowing. You look, there's no new opportunities in your life. Change your mindset by reading journals and newspapers and magazines and this and that and getting up to speed. And after a 2-3 hour session of that, a 2-3 hour flight, instead of sleeping the whole time, a lot of people like to do that on a plane, I consume that. But boy, am I pumped and ready to hit the ground running when I get off that plane, because as Mark said, I'm tearing off pages and doing follow-ups. I mean, I'm creating new income streams and profit centers and opportunities, and my mindset is just excited and pumped and ready to get off that plane and go conquer wherever it is I'm going.
You probably have both seen this before. You work with the sales reps and help teams. Some people, you can give them the exact same leads, the exact same different similar territory, same exact product, but one is going to crush it and the other is going to complain that the leads are crap. And I think it goes back to that same concept, right? It's like, how can one is probably, she probably goes like what Kevin is doing, looking at a trade magazine, looking at the details, seeing what problems are there, and then titling or changing her messaging towards that, as opposed to, we help you with nice software. It's like, no, I don't want your software. I want you to solve a problem for me. And you need to know my problem by knowing the industry magazines and stuff like Mark was including there and hitting what you're doing. Aggressive curiosity. That chapter, guys, make sure, again, this doesn't do justice. I'm just going to get probably a minute out of these guys on that. But who was the brainchild behind that section, aggressive curiosity?
Well, I've been exercising that my entire life. I mean, it goes back to when my first mentor was my father, Charlie Harrington, and he was a bartender who saved up enough money to open up his first bar called Harrington's Irish Pub, and then I started working with him, and he was working. He got in at 11 a.m., closed up at 2:30, got home at 3 a.m., but he did that 6 days a week, and from 11 a.m. to 3 a.m. And that's a long day. And so on Sunday, his day off, he was sitting with stacks of newspapers and journals and things, and like Mark was just saying. And I'm like, Dad, this is your day off. What are you doing? He's like, hey, I gotta stay in touch with. We've got so many competitors in the restaurant business now. I need the new sources, the new suppliers, of products, of broiling and basting and roasting, and he was checking all these shows out and trade shows and journals and things. And that's when I started this, I call it aggressive curiosity, because I was a kid. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I didn't want to work for somebody else. I worked for my dad for a while, but that aggressive curiosity, as you mentioned in the book, great chapter. I love it. Maybe Mark's got something to add, but this is how I started and why I continue to do this to this day.
Yeah.
I was on an interview, just me. We were talking about the book Mentor to Millions earlier this morning. Kevin talks about 8:30. happened to be 8:30 my time where I'm at. And they said, what is one of the biggest lessons you learned from Kevin as a mentor? And we talk about it in the chapter of aggressive curiosity. And Kevin calls it the concept of following the eyeballs. If you want to be successful, if you're trying to figure out what business to start, you find out where people are looking. Kevin started the infomercials because people were watching TV. Then they shifted to the internet and he started as seen on TV. And then they shifted and he followed them again. And so what Kevin has done with aggressive curiosity is he finds out where the eyeballs are at. Where are people looking? And if you put yourself and start a business in the path of those eyeballs, your chances for success are going up. I'm well on my way to my first $100 million business because of the lessons I learned from Kevin Harrington. Guess where it's at? It's in e-commerce. Where are the eyeballs right now? They're in e-commerce. Aggressive curiosity, so valuable. Something I learned from Kevin Harrington, a big reason why he's successful, because you find the eyeballs through curiosity.
Oh, shoot. Love that, man. Guys, listen to this and go get the book if you haven't done so already. All right. I want to jump into the next part. One of the ideas when it comes towards taking action, there's so much I'm jumping around with here, guys, but taking action. I love this concept in this section. You talked about entrepreneurs are able to take something naturally, for the most part, about 75 to 80% of the way with their instinct. And mentioned that was mentioned in the book. And I was really interested in it because I remember as a sales rep, I could feel the same way with a lot of sellers where they may have natural instinct that they can do something, but they only could probably go so far until they get the proper training. What are those things that typically focusing on the entrepreneur that they're usually missing that hold them back from getting to that 100%? Is that clear on that?
Yeah. So, well, I think I would say that, first of all, in many cases, it might be the first time the entrepreneur is doing this, right? So it's lack of knowledge, of what to expect, what to happen. Mark's talking about following the eyeballs. There's lots of different places nowadays that on the internet that you can do this. You can follow them. There's eyeballs on Facebook and Instagram and also affiliate networks and things like this. So when somebody is in a first launch and they're getting it to that 75, 80% level, they may be ready to actually start testing it, because we say, don't wait till you're 100%. The real kind of product developers like ourselves that are launching lots of different products and dozens of products each year, we get products up to about a 75 to an 80% factor, maybe 85% completed. We don't need to have all the retail packaging done and all of this and all of that. And we want to get it up to a point where we can get it tested. And we say, now when we test, we can then go back and finish. Let's say if it's testing good enough to deploy more investment dollars, then we can go finish it from that 80, 85 to 90, 95, 100% factor, because sometimes that last 20% can be as expensive as the first 80%. Okay. So if I can develop it 80% of the way for $20,000, but to finish it off is going to cost me another 20, I can do twice as many deals at, going to that 80% level. And that's really the focus. And so is getting it up to a point of getting it tested, sort of like what I'll call a test of the market, test before you invest, or a proof of concept at that point.
Love it. Mark, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, real simple, man. I learned this from Kevin. This was a great lesson that he taught me. We talk about it a lot in the book. And one of the things we talk about is that so many people come to us and say, hey, I got this idea. Hey, I got this idea. And the reality is they've taken it to the 75% level and they're trying to get it perfect. And so the advice that we give is you don't have to get it perfect, but you do have to get it going. It's time to get it going. And if you're listening out there, just remember, you don't have to get it perfect, but you do have to get it going. And the time to act is now. Act now. That's one of Kevin's famous pieces of advice is act now. So remember, act now. You don't have to get it perfect, but it is time to get it going.
Speaking about acting now, one of the last things I want to pick your brains on real quick, guys, is about this idea of this mentor, because I still feel that so many sellers and so many entrepreneurs sometimes feel that they need to work in isolation, that they need to I need to work in a basement, Steve Jobs and these guys did in the garage or whatnot. So I'm just gonna do that by myself. Or if I'm a sales rep, I'm gonna get this account and it's gonna be my deal and I'm gonna be the lone wolf. What is the error in thinking that you need to do it by yourself? And then what are some things that we can frame to help people come with this mentor mindset?
Right.
If you guys can speak to that both for a second.
I'll hit it first. So I was exactly like you were talking about in believing that I could do it all when I was a young entrepreneur. I remember when I started, I thought, hey, I find the products, I'm producing the shows, we're buying the media, the sales are coming in. What else do I need? Well, guess what? We weren't accounting for them properly. We had operational mistakes. We had fulfillment mistakes. So I thought, hey, sales is everything, right? That's all, if you can sell and the cash register's ringing, you're going to be profitable. But I was leaving so many dollars on the table because I didn't have the right kind of operational team and finance team to help me. In fact, the biggest challenge I ran into was I needed capital to be able to finance the growth of the business. And I thought, well, I'm just going to be able to walk into the bank. I'm a good salesman. I'm going to talk the bank into giving me some money, right? And boy, let me tell you something. No, I went to 5 banks. I got 5 quick no's, okay? Because we didn't have assets to secure and they didn't care how good a salesman I was. They had policies that if you didn't have the assets, they weren't going to loan against it, right? So once and I say policies, unless you can show them otherwise. So I ended up bringing in mentoring people. I call it my dream team. And this again gets back to the book, Mentor to Millions. I brought on mentors in my business and this is back in the 80s. And a guy came into my office and he said, you got turned down by 5 banks. I'm going to go get you 3 to 5 million. And I think it'll probably be from one of the banks that turned you down. Once I do that, not going to charge you a dime. You're going to want to sit down with me and make a deal for me to be involved with you in the future. So this was, and yes, I had been turned down by 5 banks. He got me the cash. We grew that business. He became part of that company. And it was a lesson for me to understand I can't do it all. You need experts. You need people to surround yourself with. And that's the only way you're ultimately going to be successful. And now today I've got more than a dozen mentors in all different parts of my life and different marketing and speaking areas. You name it, there's mentors out there that I'm using. So I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Mark, but
yeah, all I'm going to add real short and simple is we weren't put on this earth to be alone. I think we all know that we are not supposed to be alone. That's why we have friends. That's why we have colleagues. That's why we have spouses. That's why we thrive around other people. And I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm the first person to ever tell you, or Kevin and I are, you are not supposed to do this entrepreneurial thing alone. That's where mentorship comes in. There's plenty of mentors like Kevin, like myself, that have been down this path. We all climb the same mountain as entrepreneurs. We all start at the bottom. Nobody starts at the top. And when you're climbing that mountain, you need mentors to help you know the path to get up there to the top, what it looks like, and reaching down and pulling you up. So don't do it alone. It's not the way to do it. That's why we actually wrote the book, Mentor to Millions. It's not about millions of dollars. It's about millions of people impacted. And that is what this book is all about. The quickest way to impacting millions of people is through mentorship. You got to be a mentor, and you've got to have the right mentors. That's how you do it.
Well, guys, speaking about the book, if folks want to get access to the book or learn about the book, do you mind telling us how we can go about getting it or finding it?
Yeah, I'm going to jump in here, Kevin, because we've got this awesome URL. It's called Kevin Mentor. How would you like to have Kevin Harrington as a mentor? You just go to kevinmentor.com, and we're going to send you to Amazon, Barnes & Noble to get the book. But if you come back, Kevin and I put together a 30-day mentorship program that we're going to give to everybody that buys the book. And the reason why is because so many people need to start their mentorship journey now. So we thought, why not? In the early interviews we were doing, they were like, hey, Kevin, can you mentor me? Hey, Mark, can you mentor me? So we put together a 30-day mentorship. You buy the book, you tell us you bought the book, and you get 30 days of mentorship from Kevin and myself. Just go to kevinmentor.com, buy the book. In fact, we want you to buy the book for your mentor, We want you to buy the book for somebody you should be mentoring, and then buy a book for yourself. That's the trifecta of real success in mentoring.
Well done. We'll go ahead and we'll do that. We'll put that in our show notes. But one last thing as we get ready to go, I know a couple of salespeople are here, and we have 2 more minutes. I want to ask you this, Kevin, if you don't mind sharing some tips on this. We use this as a bonus piece of content at the very end. What is the top advice you would give to a sales rep, somebody who's brand new, starting off their sales career, or somebody who's starting up a business and have to sell?
I would say this, because I've taken 50,000 pitches in my life now.
Yeah.
And so if you're a sales rep and if you don't have a good pitch, you're probably not going to make the sale. Okay. If you're going to come on Shark Tank and you're looking to pitch and sell me on investing in your company, spend the time to create an amazing pitch. And this is actually one of the bonuses that we give people that buy our book right now. Is I've developed a 10-step strategy on how to deliver a perfect pitch. And I'm just, for the sake of giving a little bit of content here right now, Donald, I'm not going to give you 10 steps in 2 minutes, because I think on the 30 seconds, but you need to learn how to tease them, please them, and seize them. Tease by starting with an attention-getting problem, and then you please by solving the problem with magical transformations, testimonials, and very powerful solutions to the problem. And then you seize by having an irresistible offer. And so I could spend an hour on that subject. We got 30 seconds, but that's it. Get a good pitch, tease them, please them, seize them. And this is all part of Mentor to Millions, free programming if you buy our book. So kevinmentor.com is where you can go get it. And nice hanging out with you today.
Hey, Kevin, Mark,
awesome, Donald.
Thank you all so much. I super appreciate that. And thanks so much for taking the time to give the extra tip.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Listen, that was Kevin Harrington and Mark Tim. And if you want to go ahead and connect with them and check out their book, Mentor to Millions, you can go ahead and find the link down below, or you can go ahead and just go back to our show notes, to our website. You can go to salesevangelist.com or tsestudios.io, and you can get all the details there as well. I highly recommend you check out this book. It's phenomenal. It is great. It is just like practical information. And as you heard today in the episode, some of those things, you saw how Kevin and how Mark, how they got so excited as they're talking about this. Imagine just being able to have your own copy and reading it and getting all the details, and take advantage of the free stuff they're giving us as well. I mean, it's fantastic. It works. So Mentor to Millions, it's not just about money. I mean, you heard them. It's way beyond that. It's how they want to help millions of people, and you're one of them. So check out the book. If you're watching this on YouTube here, you're seeing the book right now, just scroll down below and click on the link, and you can get access to that. As always, I want you to succeed. I want you to find more of those ideal customers. I want you to be able to know what to say when you reach out to them. I tell you about tools like Pipedrive because it's so fantastically amazing. And if you haven't taken advantage of it yet, I want you to go ahead and do so. Take advantage of their extended trial and also the 25% off. I mean, come on, 3 months, 25% off? Can't beat that, man. All the information is below, but just simply go to pipedrive.live/TSE. Let me say that again. That is pipedrive.live/TSE, and use promo code pipe. What's promo code? Let me repeat that again. Use promo code PipeDriveTSE. As always, man, I want you to succeed. I want you to find more of those customers. I want you to know what to say when you reach out to them. I want you to close more deals, but most importantly, I want you to go out each and every single day and do big things. Thanks so much for watching. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video today. If you enjoyed the content, I ask you to go ahead and hit that like button, that thumbs up in the bottom right-hand corner. Also, to make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. This way, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest sales strategies, latest tools, and things that are going to help you to not only find more prospects, but to close more deals. Thanks so much.